brilliant because then you have complete control. But we need a conch to bring them in.
She was just wanting to get gone. I think that might be a little. I think she meant there'd be a little bit. Yeah, stand by. Stand by. Stand by. That's best. It was stand by rather than. Yeah. Well, maybe I can meet the projector. I can free the projector there, and then I can just do it.
Right, okay, got it. I'm gonna make you. They're sitting down. They've got their questions.
Where are you?
You're not on the big screen yet.
Didn't we do well? 11 questions.
Well done.
For him to share if he was here, but for him to share.
Do you want to see the question?
Do you want me to?
Go for it.
So I can do it.
Introduce yourself and then do the question.
Okay, do you need to do it? Okay.
Yeah, sure for it.
Where do I need to speak to?
Yeah.
Where
You can just find here.
And these are the questions.
Yeah. But well, if you're
Okay.
up for it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I'll do it, it's fine. I like to help.
Now you'll have to speak up when you talk to John.
Okay.
Okay.
You sit back. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, he's there.
Check.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. Hey.
Hi, John.
I'm done. I'm done.
Hello.
Hello.
What time is it there?
Oh.
Oh,
This is one of our students, Claudia, who's going to be
Hi, John.
the question
hi,
master.
Donnie.
Hello.
Hi. You've been going now for all day long?
All day long, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, tell me. I'm so curious about how'd your day go? What did you do? And do you have questions for me?
Yes.
Lots of questions.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So how's the day gone?
How was your day? Tell me what you did.
Fabulous.
What'd you do?
Fabulous.
Well, you don't tell me what you did though.
How dear.
We learned the different types of strokes on the gongs, and we all got to practice the different types of strokes. And now in the afternoon, we also had the opportunity to give one-to-one sessions to one another.
All right.
And we also had a small introduction to singing bowls.
Oh, what a nice. That was a good day. So,
It was a good day.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm ready for a question if you want to ask something.
Okay, so we've got quite a few questions for you, but if you feel at any point that you would just like to take your time to share with us anything that you wish, if you were here, you would be sharing a lot of knowledge with us, and so we are open to also listen to what you've got to share with us. Okay.
Okay.
Can I
Hey, hold on one moment. Yeah.
can I say something about the pregnancy and the gonging?
What?
Can I say something regarding yesterday's pregnancy and gonging?
Oh, yes. Yael wants to say something. Okay. All right. Don't knock this over now. You've got it.
Hi, I'm Yael. I'm Don's daughter. And I had the great privilege of attending the UK Gong Master training back in Dorset in, I think, 2003. I wanted to just bring something up that I heard there was some concerns, and this also came up in 2019 regarding pregnancy and gonging. So I just wanted to, let you know that I'm 47. I was gonged in utero at the ashram. It was gonged during my birth, and I seem to be normal. So I just wanted to let you know. And beyond that, I have 3 children, and the second 2 I gonged throughout my pregnancies. I was being gonged when I was delivering them. They were both home births. And if anything, I think what Don said about babies in utero being gonged just makes them gong masters. They come out really smart and disturbingly precocious. So just from a scientific perspective, I just want you to understand that inside the body, inside the womb, it is so loud. So if you Google it in terms of like hertz and frequencies, between the heartbeat of the mother and the intestines, it's like it's louder than a vacuum cleaner. So really, between the amniotic fluid and everything that's going on an anatomical basis, the baby is protected and supported. And everything that was brought up yesterday in terms of gonging with more lullaby, gentle, loving kindness is all appropriate. The big issue is I'm a Chinese medical practitioner, acupuncturist here in the US. And really, if it's acupuncture or massage or gonging, the big issue of those first 3 months just has to do with malpractice. I mean, it's not really an issue about it being dangerous for the baby or the mother. Like I said, because there's so much protection there, it really just has to do with a malpractice issue. Because if someone does, I had 2 miscarriages at 11 and a half weeks in between my kids. If you're gonna have a miscarriage, you're gonna have a miscarriage. It's just the inclination is to want to assign blame. Like I went to a gong bath and then the next day, like I miscarried. It must have been the gong bath. You could say the same thing about food, exercise, whatever. a strong pregnancy is a strong pregnancy. So I think the questions about the safety and concern for the baby, it's something to think about, but realistically, from all angles, this has more to do with just like legalese type of stuff versus the actual baby. I've gone many women I've gone women groups, pregnant groups, in the 20 years that I'm gonging, and you know, same thing with chickens, fish, cats, dogs. Their ability to hear is so strong. If you've ever seen a dog just lay down in front of a gong for the amount of sensitivity that they have, you can always make sure that people wear earplugs while you're gonging them. But I just wanted to kind of, for anyone who has some fear about pregnant women, or if you are pregnant, gonging is fantastic. Okay, sorry. That's all. That was just my like 2 cents as a health practitioner. And then the other thing I wanted to say is, since this whole COVID thing happened, I've had the opportunity to have my dad here in LA with me for over a year and a half. It's the longest I've been with him in 48 years. It's fantastic. It's a gift. I've been trying to get his works online, and so there's a website called www.onlinegongmastertraining.com. There are free courses, there's paid courses, there's standalone, there are year-long courses. But I just wanted to let you know that any of these little things that you talk about kind of spark your interest, please check it out. And then also, just historically at the GMTs, there's Don's original works, magnum opus volumes 1 and 2, Gongs of Our Solar System, and his mentor Dane Rudyard excerpts called The Music of Wholeness that he's done. So these are kind of like the beginning student curriculum literature that Don suggests. He'll talk a little bit about it. But I did have some delivered to the GMT with the awesome geometer, which I'm sure some of you will have questions about. So if you're interested in getting more information in a way that you can access very readily, I think Kevin has a store and they're giving you a special rate as a package. I think you save like 20 pounds or something. And then we're also, just to make it sweeter, we're giving 1 month free sign up. It's like $25 value. So you can see all of the recordings and teachings 24/7 for 30 days for free, just as a little bonus for you guys. All right, that's it. I'm leaving. Donald, come on down.
Thank you.
Well, this whole thing about sound and the baby hearing the sound. Usually, I think in India they had a practice of keeping the woman who's pregnant in a very ideal situation where there's no arguing, there's no this, that, because if the woman gets upset, emotionally angry, let's say, that baby is going to receive the vibrations from the mother. So the idea is to keep the mother as in heaven if possible until the baby comes out. Because to hear the father's loud, angry voice and the mother's voice screaming is this is where we lose it with the baby. I think anyway. At least that's what I was told. So be good. What are we doing now?
We've got a few questions for you.
Yes. All right.
Question 1.
Okay, question 1. Is it possible for a gong bath to damage your hearing?
You know, the joke is, what'd you say? So There's so many things that can damage our hearing, from getting a virus, a cold virus in the ear. There's so many different things. But basically, if you're under loud sounds for a long period of time, this is not good for your ears. However, we've grown up with this noise around us now. So I don't know if we're getting stronger, or are we just becoming harder of hearing. It's just a natural phenomenon. However, do not play too loud too long. That's the best, unless you want to punish that person. Well, then that's another story. You like, you don't want to do anything that is going to create something in somebody and then leave them all alone, and they go off into the wilderness and they haven't resolved what it was that was brought up. So you try to cover the waterfront, we say, and make sure that everybody is, if there's a problem, that they can express it, and therefore it won't harm them. But the loud sounds, yes, this is why when we play the gong, we don't always play in the front. We'll step to the side of the gong so that it doesn't come directly into the ears. But other than that, if you are predisposed to it through hereditary, some people do have some problems that they inherited. So that can exacerbate your hearing a little bit. But other than that, I would say just play beautifully. What happens when the tones get too loud, it all becomes just so much sound that the sensitivity of blending the tones together is lost. And we're just like bowled over by the great rush of the gong energy, which again is a good thing as well, but too much of anything is not so good, except for breathing.
Okay, so question 2. Are there any books you could recommend about sound healing?
All of the ones I just showed you.
Oh, yeah, all of these, of course. Even I have to read them once in a while just so that I can remember what it was that we're supposed to be doing. But all these are really good information to have in the library. And
Books done. It's my library. You're welcome to borrow the books that you
what did they even say?
Oh, so Aiden,
A library. He's got a
Aiden
library.
is just
Well,
Aiden
anyway,
has brought a little library with him, so he's got plenty of books. If people are interested in coming and find out which books they are, people can
Thank you.
borrow these books.
Thank
of
you,
Aiden.
Aiden. I really appreciate that. Uh, what else you want to know?
Oh, another question. You ready? Dearest Don, how was it to be under the tutorage of Yogi Bhajan?
All right. It's a trip. It was a real trip to somebody like that who is bigger than life, so to speak. However, you need somebody who's fearless in your life to help you so that they don't pass on fear to you. So this was mainly his thing, is that the Sikhs are known as fearless warriors. One Sikh, they say, can kill 100 people at a time. You know, all these. I'm joking. You understand that it's not to be taken literally, but the idea is that this fearlessness is something that the gong gives you right away. You begin to lose all fear. The fear is with the ego, the ahamkar, the what we think we are, how we think we look at, and all that. That insecurity has got to do with the ego. It has nothing to do with yourself. So the main thing to do is to realize that you're given powers. In the books, I think it was, what is it, the Gongs of the Solar System? Have you had a chance to look through that a little bit? Nobody? You will
No,
look
not yet.
sometime. But I put in there especially to help people that of the siddhis or the yogic powers that come through doing Kundalini yoga or Raja yoga or any yoga like that. And these powers that come out of it, you're not to use. So I'm looking for it now, and I don't see it in here. Where is it? Well, anyway, where's the with the cities? All of a sudden, all your powers disappear like that, just gone and vanish. So don't use your powers, yes? All right, I don't. She's looking for it.
Here we
but
go.
see,
It's on page 13.
13. Oh, yeah. Look at all of those.
Bring them closer. They can see closer.
You can see.
Around.
Yeah. Don't move it around. Okay.
Look at the shop. The shop will give it to you. But here.
We have one copy going the rounds of the room.
There is one copy here going around the room.
Well, look, this is all right. During the Gong experience, people are going to experience these cities. They are in the imagination, of course. They're not in real life. But however, the idea is not to get caught up in the Maya or the illusion that power gives us. It's very difficult, you know, when you have power, because there's something that they call spiritual ego. What I wonder what that is. Anybody want to explain what a spiritual ego is?
There is no one has come up with an explanation for spiritual ego. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it's they say it's incurable, and that teachers have to come back as cockroaches. So that means that 100% of all the teachers are now cockroaches because there's no way around that. Uh, we not to worry about it. And that's why they don't kill cockroaches. So we want to keep those teachers locked away somewhere. No, these are all called yogi jokes. Take it with a grain of salt, all right? But they do prove a little point is that you must remain a humble self all the way through. You can't get too big for your britches and think that you're something special, because you're not, and you can get brought down right away because you develop so much power that you don't have any idea of what that power is. But they stem from these cities here, and the yogis are told, you have these powers, don't use them. But then you have certain people who are psychics. My cousin is a psychic, and he has a certain power. He can move things without touching them. So these particular powers can be used to build up your ego, and this would be not good. If you have a certain power, the power not to use power is the greatest power in the world. So this is the idea. However, I'm not saying against some of you are psychics. I understand that you can read palms, you can do this, you can do that. This is natural. But don't use them for self-exploitation, and then you'll be okay.
Right, okay, so shall I move on to the next question?
Yep, all right.
Okay, dearest Don, when was the last time you were called at the service of humanity to exorcise someone? Please describe.
Well, I can't
What would
remember offhand.
An exorcism.
The last one I did? Gee, it's been a long time. Maybe I'm finished. I don't have to do any more. It's up to you now to do those. But I remember that to remain in Turiya, to remain in a neutral state of no judgment, is so essential, and the gong gives us that power. Take advantage of it, because that's your defense against these unwanted elements in life. So you want to attract to you, like a magnet, those things that will help you serve humanity. Anything else that comes to you, you've got a penalty to it, so that you don't mess with it. So this is the idea. The spirits, the last one I did, God, I think it was Aiden. Aiden, do you remember?
Aiden had a spirit entity attached to him.
Oh, big one, a very big
That
one.
sounds like a joke.
No, it's a joke. Aiden has never been egocentric at all.
Tell the experience of exorcism that you did during a gong bath. That's a good one.
Well, Aiden, have you ever played for somebody who was, displaying symptoms of having be possessed by some element?
Yeah, but the entity, what?
He's coming to the microphone.
Dad, come on.
Yeah, but the entity was too strong, and I gave a gong bath using the gong and the conch shell, and I really felt that this was working, and the entity that was possessing this young man was leaving him, but he was so attached to this entity. It meant so much to him that he all of a sudden he said, "No, stop! You don't know what you're doing. I'm going." And he got off the table, and he left the room. And then his mother came in, and she said, "Well, will you give me a gong bath?" And then he was so upset that he actually made his mother leave and get off the table too. And I couldn't do anything.
Mm.
He was a young man, and he's agoraphobic. He doesn't go out. He lives in his room, and he can't go out into the outside world. He's in a bad way.
There's a time for everything, and everything is season, I think.
Yeah, and it wasn't that time, but yeah, it was definitely working, but it was powerful, and I think he recognized that this entity that was inside of him was leaving, but he couldn't let it go. It was too important. It was part of him, kind of.
And so the test for the yogi, or the test for the gong master, would be, or is not to react to that. It's very difficult, of course. One of the things that is primary in our problems with humanity is that we take offense and give offense. And as soon as you take offense, then that clicks off this emotional self in the subconscious that enables us to be open for these types of things. But mainly, in thinking about it, you can always, through your memory, bless that situation and look and see at what good came out of it. This is always the way we do that. So that's why after the gong baths are over, we ask everybody, how was it for you? And everybody says that this is great, and da. And this one says, oh, it was the worst in the world. Well, of course, we want to know all about how it was the worst in the world, yes? Because that person is going to tell us a story. And in telling the story, it's releasing this. So this is why it's important, what's bothering you, to stay and help that person release it out. It comes out the fifth chakra, which is the etheric chakra, which means that then there's an exorcism that goes out. But then again, never say anything that you wouldn't want to have happen is the best thing to do. We call it the good, the true, and the beautiful. See, yeah.
They want to know the story of when you did an exorcism.
Oh well, One time I did this exorcism for this person who had something like 15 or 20 entities locked in the solar plexus. That was a very difficult one. I don't want to say that it's the easier ones come out first and the harder ones come out last, so it doesn't get easier. So that was one. But then there was one that a person went to a jungle and got an entity from a shaman there. And so that one came out very dramatically, and it usually ends up with the person crying or releasing. And that release is finally, oh, thank God I'm free. It's a sort of a liberation for the person. So those different things happen. But main thing is what's to learn about it. Stay neutral, stay loving, and allow everything to just go without putting up any resistance, because resistance is disease. So we just don't do it. Now, maybe you're in your period, yes? You're a woman, you're having your period, your menstrual cycle, and all of a sudden you find yourself very emotionally reacting to that. This is why the ancients had this thing against women coming into the area when they're in their period. But that again, it's another type of thing that is, it's a new world now. The main thing to do is not to allow yourself to take seriously your emotional reactions when you're in this vulnerable period of time, but to look at it and smile and say it's just going right through me as though I weren't there at all. This is why you tell people when they come to your gonging to gain this power of letting things go through you. Okay?
Okay. So next question is, what is your favorite gong?
Though, of course, the one that I love, the mirror gong. Yes. I'll tell you why. One reason why is because I like to do look behind me when I play. So when I turn my back and I'm listening very closely to the insides of the gong, my eyes can see behind me. I can see light, I can see reflection, all these little practical things. But mainly, the idea of playing in the mirror gong is you're going back to the original. The, what do you call it, Aiden? The stamp? You call it a stamp? Where the gong, it comes out as just a disc shape before they start to hammer it.
Blank. A blank.
A blank,
Blank.
yes. All right. Originally, the blank was a mirror. And then as it went through the process, it stopped being a mirror and became a gong. So bringing the mirror back to gong is not bad. Some gongs, you don't want to bring the distortion back where it's been pounded. So the mirror is simply the part of it that is not stamped. But I like that, to look into a gong and to be able to see behind me at the same time. Or to have the light from the room flash into my eyes while I'm playing the gong. So there's a lot of different things about that. However, 99.9% of the gongs are not mirror gongs anymore. They all have a wonderful, beautiful, artistic design, usually now, the modern gongs. So that's good too. So what do you do in that case? Well, sometimes we have mirrors that we place on the gong stands as well, because the mirrors, when they're put up there, you can look as though you're driving a car or a spaceship. You got your mirrors around here, so you can see behind you. The good thing about that also is that the energy goes where your eyes look. So if you're looking at something specific with or without a mirror, then the energy is going to focus where you're looking. So I do like to have the mirror gong.
What other gongs do you like? Do you have preferences? Is what they're
Well,
asking.
we originally had the Tai Loi, the heaven above, earth below, like on here. That was an original one as well. Uh, so that became the dancing gong, a gong that dancing gongs are very good if they're reflecting gongs as well. But this is just on a practical level. It is not on an aesthetic level necessarily. So you want to, any gong will do. How many gongs there do you have that are mirror gongs?
We have some gongs here that you can see yourself in, but
That's,
most
yeah,
are gongs.
yeah. So that's all right, but it's not necessary. A gong is a gong is a gong.
Okay.
Okay, so next question. Do we have to use protection mantra before we play the gong?
All right, we are walking belief systems. However, you have programmed yourself, that is your program. So, what you do is that in order to, it's like opening the doors of a building, you do your program. And if it's doing the three Sikh mantras, which I love very much as well, you can do that. In a particular situation, you might change it. You might do a Shruti song. You might have better to realize that the people that are in the acoustical space, they comprise what is called a human gong, a collective gong. And so this is why we have everybody hum and to beforehand, because they become that gong and there's a better reception. I'm giving you a short answer.
No, so the question is, do you have to do some kind of mantra to protect yourself when you play the gong beforehand?
If you feel that way, you do.
Okay.
If you have other tricks up your sleeve to protect yourself, you know, Hail Mary, full of grace, whatever it might be, you can do that as well. But please do the right thing at the right time in the right way. If you're doing a Yogi Bhajan type thing, then please honor the guru who passed on that channel if you really know what's good for you.
And another question. What is your description of a gong master?
Oh, it's just somebody who is very sweet and loving, who doesn't ever get upset, and and can easily get lost in a crowd if they want to.
Okay. I'll then move on to the next question. Don, could you tell us about Stonehenge and sacred geometry?
Right. Well, the ancients, um, even before gongs were created, before synthesis in 3000 BC or 2500 BC, before the Iron Age, was the Age of Bronze. Copper and tin melted together, and when they dried, you hung them up, and you hit them, they went gong. So that was the idea. If you go back into history, that before the gongs, the sound was in caves. And so they created cathedrals that have sounds of the Om. In other words, to bring out the Om of something, to bring out the holistic resonance, to bring out the total health of that person on any level, is making that person into a gong. And that's why we say, I'm a gong, you're a gong, we're a gong. Is that gong sound is where you embrace everything. Once you embrace everything, then that cannot hurt you. If you resist it, of course, then you're going to have a struggle. But even the struggle, after a while, you're going to lose that struggle because of the power of the cosmos flowing through you. Aiden's falling asleep again. Aiden, wake up. God, every time I talk, he falls asleep. It's like, I don't
I'm in
know.
the zone, Don. I'm in the zone.
But you,
Sorry?
you're on camera, so I can see.
History and what is Starhenge?
What?
They asked about Starhenge.
About Starhenge, yeah. Okay, so the ancients would build the stone circles. Okay, those stone circles, a lot of it was granite, yeah, but there were other stones involved too. But they held metals inside. Uh, so the idea is that the Stone Age uh, is the age that is coming back as a tone age of holistic resonance. And so to be able to build a garden according to geometric principles is capturing the powers of the universe and focusing them like a flashlight onto a specific area. And that becomes what we call a secret garden, where these things can take place. Automatically, people can come in and feel. How many people have gone into the Stonehenge before in England and said, well, I'm better? So the Stonehenge, that environment will reinforce your self-healing.
Is the person who answered that question, do they want more on that, or is that?
So you want to learn sacred geometry. It's the most wonderful thing to be, so that you can go and take your Starhenge in a suitcase with you wherever you go in the world, be able to find your latitude and longitude, set it up geometrically so that you're at an angle with true north, and then begin to divine. It's like playing any type of a game, but this game is one that brings you wisdom and knowledge and makes new connections in the higher cerebral cortex. That's what it's good for. So this is why people gather in circles all over, and why the Stonehenge gardens are being used in different countries now.
Okay, and apart from bowls and gongs, what others are your favorite instruments?
Well, of course, everybody likes. We used to call it Jew's harp. What is it called? No.
Yes, it is called Jew's harp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that a lot to play, and different kinds. And Aiden has a great collection of bird whistles, so I love the bird whistles. Yeah, and so it's all good. They are all of them are scenery changers. Mm. So they say keep moving, keep the energy moving.
Dear Don, have you had insects join in gong baths before? As we had a fly in the ear of Corinne during a gong bath.
Oh, what's really nerve-wracking is, of course, the one of those things when we would do something down on an island with all those little crickets, they're like, what do they call them? The crickets that chirp, 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 chirp all the time?
Cicadas.
Yes. Oh, they are the worst. So we would go there and we would play, and this noise pollution that they create. Finally, when the gongs got loud enough, they shut up, you see. But as soon as the gongs went away, they came back again. So some of those outside noises are really disturbing. So all that you can do is to let their sound go through you as though you weren't there at all, which we practice. Why are these questions so hard today?
We were walking back home. It will get worse. Someone needs to be bored.
Wait till Tuesday.
Okay, I'll tell you. Ask another one.
Yeah, okay. So, what was your most memorable experience during a gong bath? that easy?
Well, it's I don't like, well,
In the last 50 years, do you have
yeah,
a
I know,
most
I'm trying to
memorable
think
one?
about what. Okay, I'll tell you mine, but Aiden, what was yours? See how difficult.
I've got an answer.
Yeah, Tim's going to take it.
The last one was the most memorable
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
The
last
one we did
one.
last night.
The last
It's always the last one.
Last night. Last night.
What happened last night?
Well, we went to, the outer reaches of the solar system.
We had an avalanche of
We have an
sound.
avalanche of sound. We had sonic, snow. What did we else?
Parties in the stomach.
Yes.
And a non-sexual orgasm.
Oh, yeah, someone had a non-sexual orgasm.
Oh, well, this happens everywhere Tim goes. Oh, there's so many different experiences, but not to get hung up on the experience itself. It's just a venue. There's a lot of phenomenal things that attract our childish attention, and we have to be like children. So that's what they're for. But otherwise, the experiences do something on different levels that are beyond the conscious level. This is why we love to take our gongs and go into sacred places, so that we can have easier access to these altered states of consciousness, to stay awake at the same time. So yeah, I don't have a favorite one. Yes, a lot of fantastic experiences have happened with the gong, but I just forget about them. I just allow them to be.
In Krakow, when we were in Krakow, in
Yeah.
Poland, and we went to this underneath, like a cellar underneath the ground,
Yeah.
and we did a gong bath, and you did. I was playing the gong, and you were quoting Shakespeare. I think it was the soliloquy.
Hamlet, maybe.
Hamlet soliloquy.
Yeah,
And
that's
you played the
right.
gong, and you were to be or not to be. Yes, or something like that. That was memorable. For me, it was.
Yes. I and I probably changed it to be gonged or not to be gonged. It's not a question.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
All right. So there's a lot of phenomena that are involved as well, but mainly it's to be able to make you a better channel so that the healing power can flow to other people. And that's it, just to be a clear channel. That's the best in the world, because this is why you can leave the earth without having to unfinished business. Now, of course, unfinished business is unfinished business. There's nothing you can do about the mistakes that you've made in the past. So the idea is to just allow what we call to forgiveness. Once we learn to forgive ourselves, then we can forgive other people. Otherwise, we can't.
You say it's as wise to be neutral about the positive experiences as it is about the negative experiences.
Staying neutral for the positive experiences as well as the negative experiences.
Yeah, glamour is something that happens because we love glamour. Okay, and glamour, of course, is the beautiful illusion. There's a glamour about being a gong master of ceremonies. Some people really can get off on that, but again, if you get too far off on that, then you develop narcissism, or you develop a sense of which is not your true self. So as you get more power, you have to become more humble. And as you become more humble, then you get more power. So you want to continue to become a channel for the divine. And so we say, watch your step. It's a jungle out there, and you're a pathfinder. And the path of the gong is a wonderful path because it protects you.
So, Don, if you were here, surely you would be sharing a lot of knowledge with us. And what we've been doing is asking you a lot of questions.
Right.
However, we would like to give you the opportunity now to share with us any knowledge that, yes, that you wish to share, that you feel that it's important for us to know.
Well, I'm always thinking about what is the future of gong playing on the planet? And how are we fulfilling this so-called destiny that we've chosen? And how much are we doing in order to progress that? And we never can come up to what we call come up to snuff. We cannot do enough. So the more that we do, the better it is. The main thing is to pass the experience of the gong to everybody, and mainly to stop the violence in the world. Okay, and we're doing that, and so whatever little you can do, that's a lot. If you can do more, reach more people, give more people the experience of the divine, that's better. So this is, I think, what all teachers do, whether they're gong teachers, yoga teachers, or that, is that they want to make sure that they serve as many people as they can in the right way. This is called seva, of course, because servants, we do our seva. Okay, these questions are too easy.
No, that wasn't they didn't, there's no question. They wanted you to just share. So do you want to share about the International Gong Masters Alliance or 2025?
Well, yes. Google this, all of you out there. Google this. Google Madame Blavatsky. Google that theosophical literature. Alice A. Bailey, especially her woman. These are all powerful, active feminine forces on the earth. Still, even though they're gone. And then began to see, well, all right, I look at it this way. I look for any excuse to play the gong. So when I was studying the theosophical things, and I saw that 2025 was to be the full activation of the fourth ray of the sound healer, and which we occupy the same ray as those people who are at war, that there's going to be a repolarization. So I go about my job of repolarizing and to encourage that with people. So when we say no more war, that's my Shruti song that I put at the beginning of the book, because I thought it was the most important one. However, what I wanted to share with you a little bit now, you've learned all of the strokes of the gong, a lot of them. Some of them are more natural to you than other ones. Now, the thing to do to train yourself is to write a list of the strokes in different orders. Slur, tie, swinging gong, this gong, that, and to write down a list of them in different orders, and then follow the sheet music that you've created and make the shifts from one technique to the other technique to the other technique so you don't get stuck anywhere, and then play the game of, we do call and response, don't we? It's really so much fun. So you can do the same thing with gonging. If Aiden is playing the gong and I see him do something really nifty on the gong, then I try to imitate what he did, to try to find out where the juice is in that particular method that he's using. So this curiosity makes the gong player stronger. Okay.
It's 10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock. Thank God. All right. So read your books.
Okay, show them how you do your hook'em.
How you do the.
Why did you make this
Oh, all
look
right,
so
so-
small?
Okay. So the hook'em is really you put it up to the higher third eye point right here, huh? And then you open it up and you're led to what's needed at a particular time. So that's a hook'em. And you don't go, I don't like that hook'em, and close it up. You're obligated to, once you do it, you follow through. Okay, enough.
You're talking as if they've all done this before. Ask them if any of them have done that.
Yael wants to know if everybody has done a hook'em.
No.
No.
Why not? She wants to know why not.
Never heard of it.
Perhaps would Aidan be able to explain that to us?
Like,
Yeah,
what
for
is a
example,
hook'em?
You get one of Nate Dunn's books, for example. We've got this book. What Dunn's talking about is you get one of his books, or
Any book.
any book. So what have we got? We have Dane Rudyard, The Rhythm of Human Fulfillment. Show that to Don.
Oh, nice.
Dane Rudyard, The Rhythm of Human Fulfillment in Tune with Cosmic Cycles.
Ooh, I want that book. Put it.
Can't, it's Aiden's.
This is from my library.
Well, you going to do a hook'em on that one?
Do a hook'em here. So you put the book to your forehead.
Yeah, yeah. It helps if you smack your head really hard.
Wakes me up. Then you open the book and point and read. That's a hook'em.
Okay, let's hear it.
Do it, Aidan.
What?
Do it.
In an English accent, it sounds much better.
Okay. I'm reading what I point to. But this hunger for experiences or explorations usually does not stop to consider the relation between the experiencer and the experience. Food that is not assimilated by the organism tends to fill the body with toxic byproducts, and it tends to generate an ever greater craving. The same thing is true of experiences, especially unusual ones, which the consciousness has difficulty in assimilating because the total person has not developed what is required for such an assimilation.
All right, so we, Aidan, we say that you really said a mouthful.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, and so what happens is that it's for contemplation. It's not for easy listening. You know, it's not directions on a map. So after you read that out loud and everybody goes, "Huh? What the heck did he say?" You're supposed to parenthesize and put it in other words. So immediately Aidan would say, what he's trying to say is blah 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 blah, and he'll put it into more terms that you can understand. So now somebody say that. What do you paraphrase what you just heard? In other words, what he's trying to say is, and then fill in the blank. Someone want to take a
Baton.
yeah. Sometimes you have to pick it up and look at it again and again and again to read between the lines.
Speak up.
That if you, what I understood was that if you give your body food that is unusual and that cannot be processed, you will crave more of that. And the same with experiences, if they are unusual and you cannot assimilate them, then you will crave more of them.
That's good. That was well put together. That's exactly it. So I'll do a hook 'em with your book, John.
Oh, good, yes.
Magnum opus. So here we go. Like your head. Think hard. Open. And read. The self within a tone can only become fully active when the self within the tone producer is also active.
Again, read it again, slower.
She's writing it down, so go ahead.
Okay. The self within a tone only become fully active when the self within the tone producer is also active.
So, all right.
So what does that mean? In
Ah,
other words,
in other words, and now you put it to the Shruti. Shruti means revelation, and right now we need a revelation very badly. So we take the Shruti. Give me a line, the first line.
the self within a
tone. Self within a tone.
There is a self within the self. Keep going.
Within the tone.
Within the soul.
And only becomes fully active.
It can only come fully active.
And only becomes fully active.
Self within the tone producer.
Blah 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 blah. You see, that's spiritual free jazz. In other words, go ahead and break out of the bag. And by doing that,
That was written by Dane Rudyard, actually. I opened it up on a quotation from Dane Rudyard, and that was one of his.
Oh, so we say the message is in the massage. So we take whatever it is and we turn it into a beautiful massage of music. And then as we do it, it becomes organically a part of us. In other words, I don't know why. I just don't know why. I love you like I do. Oh, like I do. Do you love me too? I hope you do. You see, you can take anything, and once you do it, it's in music. You can get away with saying anything, and it makes it an experience like this. But when you practice your Shruti, this is why we say, see if you can do it 5 different ways. 5 different ways as though the other ways never existed. And this develops a certain city in you. All right. So you've got that, and you got your Shruti boxes. You do it with your bowls. Aiden has bowls. He does it with his bowls. He goes bong, ba 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 ba, hidden still, ba 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 ba, and so that he can use the bowls as a venue for the for the shruti.
We have some shooties here. How many
Yeah.
have you got? I've got two. Yeah. Any more?
There's at least one.
That's five. Any more? 6, 7, 8.
We have seven.
Remember the first shruti that you ever heard? Your mother sang it to you, didn't she? Didn't she sing to you when you were a little baby? Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Mama's gonna make you an apple pie. Something like that. She would sing sweetly to you. So that's why we make sure that uh, it's, yeah. Make sure that you keep your voice a loving one, like you were singing to the child within a person. We did a lot. We said a lot. What are you going to do today?
So now today is nearly over, so we're gonna have dinner next, and then afterwards there will be a gong bath.
Who's doing it?
I think the players from today.
Aiden, Tim, Charlie, Debbie, yes.
Hmm. Oh, I wish I was there to hear it. So, but to have a good one tonight. Remember, you're not going to have time to read your material of these things, because by the end of the day is over, you really, But if you can do some hookums, what I suggest to you is that you bite the bullet. Huh? I do a hookum with this one here, and I do it shortly, and I'll read something and I'll pick up another one like this here, and I'll do another one. That way I can cover the whole waterfront by doing hookums on the different things. The music of wholeness, that's a little, what we call thick. So you have to put a little time in to
Well,
be
it's
able
a scholarly work. Quotations.
Could you repeat yourself, Aiden? We can't hear you.
I said the music of wholeness is quite a scholarly work written by Dane Rudyard. It's thick, but it's heavy. It's loaded.
Well, a story about Dane Ruder I remember was that he had a young wife, and she became attracted to Yogi Bhajan's teaching. She began to she left him for to study, and then he got another wife.
Is that it? Is that it? Is that the
Oh, you won't remember any of these stories, so I don't mind telling you them. All right, so have a good day
No,
today.
you have 30 minutes.
We have 30 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Shruti songs. Okay, let's do a Shruti with our Shruti band there. Okay.
Is there anything else about Dane Rudyard that he wants to say that is more? Because we
Tim
haven't-
is asking if you can talk a little bit more about the Rudyard.
John, is there anything else you would like to tell us about Dane Rudyard? Because we haven't spoken much about him at all. So, would you like to do like a
Well,
short
the first thing that I did was honored him in a concert, in which I invited him. He was very old at that time. I don't know if he was old as I am, but he was old, and he came there, and he had his wife speak for him because he couldn't talk very loud. And so he came there, and we honored him in doing the original composition by L.S.A. Bailey of The Great Invocation. And so it was performed with him on stage. I don't know what happened to the recording of that, is gone. But that was the only thing that I could do to honor him for what he's bringing to the gong players of the world today, because he wrote everything about his music was about the gong. So it's good to
Can you
study.
talk about who he is for the people who don't know?
Well, everybody knows Dane Rudyard, don't you?
No, we don't. That's why we asked for a short introduction to Dane Rudyard and his work.
Well, he lived at the time of Scriabin and Alice A. Bailey and all of our ancient ones back in the early part of the last century. And so he was part of that group that of the Theosophical Society that brought the information to us here in England and America. So he was a wonderful man, and I don't know what more to say about him except that his teachings now have affected millions of people in the world who are studying the Gong. And when you pick up the book, I wrote something about him in here, about here, Introduction to Rudyard. So I don't want to have to repeat it, but if you'll just read that, and so that he, I started studying his astrology in 1968, I think. Um, and so that was the first astrology I learned was Dane Rudyard's astrology. And of course, the book at that time was the 12 Tests and the 12 Gifts. He took the astrological thing, and each of the houses or each of the signs was a test, and the test is given to all of us where our planets are in certain houses, so that we can pass that test uh, given to us. So that was how he used it. Read it. Read about him. Google him.
And there are some books in the library from him.
Yeah, I was gonna say you utilize Aiden's library, utilize the shop that Kevin has for you guys. You know, even if you just sit there and read it as if you were in a library. So this is all done. Presumes you all have become familiar with these awesome teachers, but they're part of your lineage as gong players. Mm-hmm. Talk to them about Alice A. Bailey and Skirban. Why should they go study this?
Well, I think you're studying it because we're part of a lineage. It's an unknown lineage for most people. It's an invisible lineage sometimes. But as you begin to investigate into the past, you will be led through your innate intelligence to part of that lineage that you belong to in the past. You're not going to be led astray. You're going to be led to that line, whatever it might be. It might be a Spensky, if you're Russian. It might be a Chinese, Lao Tzu, if you're Chinese. So you'll be led to these different lineages that are being passed on. You have to recognize that you also are part of a lineage. And later on, the students of your students, and way in 20, 30 years from now, will be carrying on that lineage of the gong player. So,
John?
Yes.
Another question, quick question. This is a question about soul rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Soul rescue, and sometimes in a building, yeah? Is there a certain order or structure that you feel is important to know in order to do soul or spirit rescue of a building in a space?
What do you do? How do you use that? Yeah.
I use the conch shell, the tinctures, and I have a bowl. It's a clearing bowl, and I play that. I play it in every room. I use the conch shell. We go from room to room in the houses. I do this for people who have had bad things happen in their house, or they've had the builders in making a lot of noise, making a lot of dust, and they're just like beside themselves that finally the builders are gone, or the bad things are gone, and they feel they want to reclaim their house. So I come in with the conch shell, the tinctures, the bowl, and make a large, beautiful sound, fill the house with sound, beautiful sound. And so that's the sound they remember uh, in the end, and not all the bad stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
There's that wonderful Shruti that we about beauty. What do you remember what that is? It's in the Shruti books. Beauty all around me, beauty in front of me, beauty behind me. The beautiful way. The beautiful way is the most beautiful proportion, which is phi, which is the sounds that come out of the gong according to phi. So the gong is called the beautiful way. Uh, so it's very important sometimes if you want to go back on the time track of the person, say, I want you to lie down. Okay, I'm lying down. I'm playing the gong very softly in bowls, etc., in the background. And I say, I want you to remember the first spiritual experience that you ever had. And now that person is challenged to go back along the time track. And it's easy to go back on the time track when there's this hum, this hum, this ocean you can float back on so that it becomes like a vehicle. So then you say, okay, what's the most beautiful experience that you had when you were a child? So people usually remember the bad experiences and then they try to block it out. But if you just go back the beautiful way and look at all those things in your life, when you were a child and you look up at the sky and all of a sudden you made a connection, a spiritual connection, whatever it might be, maybe meditating. I remember when I was in India and I walked into and I meditated on Mother Teresa's eyes. It was a photograph, and immediately this great surge of energy happened as the connection was made. So to be open to the beautiful way. Mm.
Can you talk a little bit about phi, the line of least resistance?
Okay, well, everybody knows that phi is that when the tones accumulate and they grow, they're living tones, they're procreating in acoustical space, they're filling everything, thickening the atmosphere around the gong. That is according to the phi. Pi is another irrational fraction. The irrational fractions are very, very important to us because they're never the same. If you take the irrational fraction of pi and the irrational fraction of phi and you play them, they will never repeat themselves ever. It'll go on and on. They have a certain immortality, we can say, insofar as they never repeat cause karma and complete. Like if you were writing a song, you have a chorus and you would repeat it, and it would be a closed thing. But if you do it the Shruti style, and you do it, then you're not allowed to do it the same way twice. So that means that other doors begin to open up in your mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But always to remember that the most powerful gong that you have is the throat. Whatever comes out of your mouth, so be it. So make sure that as your power increases, you don't say anything negative. I don't mean to be negative about it, but that's the way it is. All right, let's hear Shruti. All right, Tim, let's go call response. All right. With let's just take one line. All right. I give it to you. You give it to me. Blessed am I. Blessed, blessed am I. Blessed am I. Blessed am I, blessed am I, blessed am I, blessed am I. I am the infinite. I am within my soul. Within my soul. Well, you know, I can find no beginning and no end. I can find no beginning and no end.
I can find no beginning and no end.
No beginning and no end.
No beginning and no end.
All is myself. All is myself. And then go into your overtoning, which is the oh, that sounds so beautiful, so beautiful, Tim. And so that's how you massage the shruti, so that you can activate through the sending the sonal ray up through the hard palate into the capri of your skull, and in that cave of your consciousness, begin to direct the sonal ray in different directions to massage the brain. Of course, the brain can't feel anything, so you have to direct the sonal ray like if you were singing in a cave. Okay, that's it for today. For me, I think.
You have 7 more minutes.
7 more minutes. So, any other questions?
You just jumped through that really quickly. Do you want to talk about the sonal ray and sending it to the different areas and why?
All right, so how do you do that? You do it through the vowel sounds, don't you? So, what I'll do with the sonal ray is, of course, you start with ooh-ee. It's simply the easiest one to do. We do the oo and the e at the same time, and you create overtones. So if I go, and once you do that, then that ray becomes real to you. And you can just simply direct it wherever you want to it. You can even direct it into other people. For instance, if you went behind somebody and you went, maybe they'll jump a little. But the idea is that you can direct that ray into them as well. So when you're massaging somebody, most massage people will not do anything too unusual because you don't want to, So, but if you can train the person to direct the sonal ray while you're doing a massage, it's very, very powerful, but you should warn the person first.
And what about the capri, the different parts of the brain?
So what we're doing now is we're preparing a book to show you what parts of the brain do what things in our life. And then we can, knowing where its location is, we can direct that sonal ray directly to it and resonate it. So this is uncharted territory, by the way. You'll just have to take Tim's word for it.
Shall we finish with another Shruti?
All right. Let's hear it. Go ahead with them and I will listen.
Let's all go forth in love. Leaving our troubles in the past. They're all in the past. What's done is done. Let's all go forth in love. Today is a new day. Today is a new
Oh, that's beautiful, Tim. Now, I'd like to just say something about that. Let's try an experiment. Do not do the same shruti the other person is doing. This is called the tantric sonal weave. So that if he's doing that, I might be doing a totally different shruti. Now, so the two things will weave together like that. If there are 10 people in the room, let's say, and each one of them is doing a different shruti, then it becomes an ocean of shruti. Let's try that just for a second since we have a moment. Pick your own shruti, whatever it might be.
Everyone.
Everyone has their own one, and you are to weave your personal shruti into this whole ocean of shrutis swimming around, and maybe even stealing a little something from each other, like, imitation's the greatest form of flattery. So you'll say, I'll try that. Okay, you ready? Take it away.
Not on us, but in us, making every fiber glide and sing, making every fiber glide and sing, and every bird song, and every wind song is our song. It belongs to us, it belongs to us, it belongs to us, and it sings out loud, it sings out loud, it sings out loud, it belongs to us, and it sings out loud.
Woohoo! Oh, bravo. All right. You can feel the prana that's released. Usually when we do this, you might think about having a handheld microphone and somebody who's roaming throughout everybody so that When the microphone goes into your face, that means we're going to hear your Shruti rise above the ocean of the other Shrutis and then go back into the ocean like that. This is a wonderful technique to use. Oh, look at the brain.
You want to send some overtoning to a part of your brain?
Well, yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, yeah.
So if you imagine your brain.
All right, remember now you have three voices. You got the whisper, you've got the silent, you've got the out loud. You have the spoken. You also have the one that is very loud to come. When you say bring it out, you bring that from the ocean out so it stands out alone. Now, we're going to have this ready for you in a little while when we get time so that you can have a roadmap to the brain. Now, all that you have to do is to direct the arrow of your Shruti to different parts of the brain, and then that will send the energy to that part of the brain.
So this is the prefrontal cortex, which is right where your forehead is in the higher angel guru center point.
Yeah. Now, of course, the cortex goes all the way around the brain, so most of the thinking that goes on is in the outer layer of the brain, which we call the cerebral cortex. That's in the prefrontal, and then you have the other areas as well. So when we are really going to bliss in chanting, this is why everybody sort of gets very religious, is because you have brought yourself to a state of that way.
Don, we're going to have to leave you and go to dinner.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Love you all. Thank you, Aiden. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Yael.